Yeah, so today we are joined by Chef Andrew Gruel. He is the founder and CEO of Slapfish Seafood. They have 25 locations worldwide. Pretty great seafood place. Should check them out. Anyway, the other day, Chef Andrew tweeted about a special offer that his company is doing, and we'll throw it up on the screen right now. And I quote, starting Monday, we are giving away these community burgers in exchange for a donation. All proceeds will go to help struggling restaurant workers. If you've lost your job, yours will be free without a donation. Oh, and this is 6 calories, and that's my favorite part.
Yeah, I gotta say that burger looks pretty amazing for 6 calories. I'm a little worried that somebody at Facebook with too much time on their hands is going to fact check us on the
Probably.
6 calorie thing, but I don't even care. That just looks too good for me to care.
So we're joined now live by Chef Andrew. Thanks so much for being on the show today. I want to ask you first off, how is this going? How many have you received some donations? Have you received a big community response? What's going on?
Yeah, the response has been unbelievable. We have launched the burger element of this promotion in conjunction with a fund that we've started. It's called 86 Restaurant Struggle. And for those of you who've worked in the restaurant industry, 86 is when you're out of something. So 86 Restaurant Struggle, whereby we're trying to raise money in order to help struggling and out of work restaurant workers. So the burger element, of course, a little bit to get to your belly, to excite the cause. And we're going to continue, rolling out these types of culinary incentives, if you will, as part of the grander strategy to really step up as a small business within the restaurant community to help bridge the gap between whatever the government's going to end up doing, if anything at all, and the hardship that we're all facing right now.
Yeah, and what exactly can our listeners do, our listeners and viewers do right now to help out, to help those struggling restaurant workers and business owners and all of that? What specifically should they do?
Well, and I don't want to try and grift only into my own cause. I think one thing we can do within our own local communities, of course, is buy gift cards, shop locally, shop at those small mom and pop restaurants, try and avoid using third-party delivery apps if you can actually go to the store and pick the food up. Those
Right.
delivery
Yeah.
apps really hurt the restaurant because they take 30 cents on every dollar. It's really a transfer of wealth from Main Street up to Silicon Valley. Those are the ways in which we can help within our own community. If you wanted to help out our cause, obviously you could go to my social channels. I'm on Chef Gruel on Twitter, and I'm posting it all over the place. Slapfish on all the social media channels, and we do have a fund up right now whereby we're raising donations as small as 50 cents in order to once again put that fund together. We're going to distribute that in denominations of no more than $500 to anybody who can kind of provide the verification that they're either losing a ton of hours or that they're struggling. It's the holiday season. Most restaurants in
Right.
states like New York, California have been shut down with
Right.
no notice and no relief.
That's a great answer, and I appreciate you saying you don't want to grift just for your own cause, because this really is a community thing. This is something that restaurant workers and business owners around the country are struggling with just to make ends meet, to put food on their families' tables. And I want to talk a little bit about kind of the restrictions that have caused those sorts of things. So you've been pretty outspoken about saying, look, people deserve to make their, they deserve to make a livelihood. They deserve to go about their business and earn money, feed their families. Can you talk to me a little bit about what advice you would give small business owners who are faced with a choice? They can either obey the government, who's telling them, you have to shut down, you have to do all these restrictions, and that might mean losing a lot of business, losing a lot of money, or they could ignore it, but then they're going to risk breaking the law and getting fined and, in some cases even worse. What would you tell those business owners?
I by no means want to be a catalyst to force people into kind of facing a moral dilemma that puts them in a situation where they could be breaking the law. But what I would suggest is that really weighing the cost benefit analysis when it comes to skirting regulations within the construct of your own local organizations, because most of these mandates are being put down via various health agencies where they're being deputized in order to perhaps threaten to pull your health permit or your ABC license or what have you. So I think it's important within your own jurisdiction to communicate with some of these agencies to really understand where there's flexibility, right? Number one. And number two, I also think it's really important to now take advantage of the power of social media, because we've seen, like no other time before, messages go viral on behalf of small independent business owners who are speaking out against the hypocrisy that cuts through the science, when we can watch our big box corporate campaign donors operate freely and make millions, if not billions of dollars, and we're shut down without even a pat on the back that we're going to get help.
Joe, I kind of want to jump in there if I might. I mean, you got there at kind of these health departments who have been, you're right, deputized to kind of make these decisions, and they're not thinking about the externalities. They're not really thinking about, what's going on with these businesses. And obviously, a bunch of businesses have been hurt. A bunch of different sectors of the economy have been hurt. But I kind of want to speak directly about, just the food industry. It seems like these restrictions really have kind of arbitrarily hurt food almost the most. I mean, when you can go out and you can do your food shopping, but you can't go to a restaurant, or the restaurant has to exist under, X and X restriction to remain open. And at that point, maybe it's not worth paying the electric bill to even keep it open. I mean, can you just speak to how have these restrictions kind of isolated arbitrarily certain sectors?
The restaurant industry has become the scapegoat in this scenario. We are all being targeted because we are independent restaurant owners. And when I say independent, even multiple restaurants, I mean, we're still small businesses, right? We're all independently owned outside of kind of the world of large chain restaurants. And those have also been hurt. So I don't want to try and, pick and choose my arguments, because of course, it is somewhat of an even playing field when it comes to restaurants. But the fact of the matter is that we're probably not going to fight back. And most of the people that are making the rules understand that. So they want to take on the appearance of looking strong and looking like they're making the tough decisions. And they're doing it at the expense of these small business owners, so that they can continue to pat each other on the back and say, look what I did. I made the really tough decisions. But they know that they will never get within the world of offending their corporate masters who are donating millions and billions of dollars to their campaign, nor will they want to go up against the corporatism that has, lobbyists and, deep pockets when it comes to legal funds. So we're the low-lying fruit. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, and that's not conspiracy theory. That's fact. We've heard it from a lot of these leaders. And at the end of the day, the outcome here is going to be a grand switch in the landscape of Main Street across America. Because when you wipe out these restaurants, what you're going to be left with is empty real estate that's going to get swooped up by large real estate, investment trusts, or, Chinese firms that are going to take on this real estate, and they're going to turn these into corporate big box stores or manufacturing centers. And we're going to lose the charm, the character of the restaurant world. We're all going to be, it's Demolition Man. We're going to be shopping through Taco Bells and Amazons for the rest of the next decade.
I am so glad you made that reference, because it kept coming to my mind. I don't know how many other people have even seen that movie, but it's such a great reference. We're all eating at Taco Bell next. I'm a guy who loves a good movie reference. So I did want to ease your conscience about one thing, if I can, Chef. And I don't know anything. What I know about the food industry is food, good, hunger, bad. That's pretty much where I live. But I don't think that you need to take any responsibility on your shoulders for instituting any sort of moral dilemma on the part of these small business owners. I think that responsibility lies squarely on the shoulders of people like Governor Cuomo in New York, Governor Newsom in California. Personally, I hesitate to even go into this. But I would. What's so frustrating to me is to see somebody like Governor Newsom promulgate these rules and regulations and then just so flagrantly violate them himself. It would be one thing if he were just a true believer and he really felt like we really need to do these things to keep everybody safe, and he was just rigid about enforcing that even in his own life and his own family. I'd still disagree with him about aspects of that, but at least I'd say, well, here's a guy I can disagree with, but who has integrity, and so we can have a conversation about that. When you just put these rules in place and then do what you want to do anyway, and they apply to the little guy, but not to the people who are making the rules. As somebody said earlier today, all these folks who are putting us out of work are still going to have jobs when all of this is over. And so
Unless we vote them out.
Unless we vote them out. Yeah, unless we vote them out. Always with that caveat. So I know as a small business owner, that's just got to be terribly frustrating to you.
Of course it is. And I agree with you. If Newsom was following his own rules and he was locking himself up, his cronies, and the entire state, then that would be one thing. But when we're selective about the industries that can continue to operate within this world of exemptions, which of course has become the buzzword of 2020, and small businesses are the ones that are taking the hit. Look, what's pretty ironic here is the messaging. Here I am promoting small business in America, and I'm putting a bullseye on the back of companies like Amazon and Walmart and Target and these big box stores. Let's back up a year from now. There's no difference between me and AOC, right? And yet I'm getting trashed and completely pummeled by the left right now because they're saying that I'm out there trying to kill Granny and how dare I do this, and shame on me. But when did the script flip? This is nonpartisan. This is about calling out the hypocrisy, protecting small business in America, stopping the economic freefall when it comes to restaurants in America, and making the realization apparent to our overlords that we're not numbers on a spreadsheet. There are people behind these numbers with families, husbands, wives, children, grandparents leading into the holidays. Some people don't even have money to pay rent, let alone buy Christmas gifts for their kids or their loved ones. And, when these questions are posed to Newsom in a press conference and he says, well, it's really about protecting everybody. Well, he sure as hell didn't think it was about protecting anybody when he was dining on a $2,000 head meal with 23 people at the French Laundry the same day that he banned indoor dining, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that so much of this is happening around the holidays too, I think is so key right now. And my hat is off to you, sir, for doing what you're doing. It is just so good to see Americans just stand up and say, I can't impact 10 million people this year. I can't feed an entire starving nation in Africa, but I can do this thing in my community for these specific people who have been impacted. If we would all do that, if every American would just stand up and do what you are doing, we'd just be in such a much better place. And you know what? We'd be able to kind of turn our backs on the Newsoms and the Cuomos of the world. And who cares? You're irrelevant. We're doing the right thing for our communities, for the people who surround us, and we're going to make their lives just a little bit better. And again, my hat's off to you, sir. I just admire what you're doing in this.
And as Chef Andrew said, it's very easy for us to support small business owners, right?
Right.
It's not. He has a GoFundMe. You can donate to that if you would like to. It's also simply just as easy as going to shop. Don't use the third-party delivery apps.
Yeah.
Go to shop at your local restaurant. Just patronize them and, enjoy it because food is delicious, like we all think, like we all know. But just support the local businesses in your area because they do appreciate it.
Yeah, and if you're nervous about it, pick it up to go.
Yeah.
Take it home, eat it there. You can do that.
Wear a mask, pick
perfectly
it up, and go home and eat it in your
Right.
bed while watching Netflix.
Well, that might be TMI there, Joe. But yeah, whatever floats your boat, brother.
Anyway,
And
Chef
look,
Andrew, thank you so much for joining us on the show. Really appreciate your valuable insight and your nuance on this issue. So thank you so much.
And thank you again for what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, it's very much our pleasure. Have a great holiday, and I pray that 2021 will be a better year for you. I kind of feel like it almost has to be, but pray that this turns around for everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Take care.
a lot.